Hello everyone, thanks for dropping by. I don't normally watch Sandman's videos that often, but the latest one involved a British magazine called The Spectator, which is generally a leftist mag, but it sometimes has interesting articles. This is the link to the Spectator article which Sandman was talking about. I'll also include the link below this one to his channel and the video that he put out. He can explain it in a lot more detail than I can, but you should remember that Sandman is only giving Sandman's point of view, whereas if you read this, you could find yourself nodding in some cases to the points that Louise Perry puts across. Now, the only thing I found interesting is this. It's, as you can see, the decline in marriage. Now, my parents were married in May 29th, 1942, which is around about here or here during the war. As you can see, the peak of marriage here in Britain was, where is it? Come on. 1st of January, 471,000 marriages. But since then, the second peak was 1st of January 1972, and then the women's liberation movement kicked in, also waves of feminism, and you can see the marriage rate going down to reach 1st of January 2019. So you could say if it's carrying on that it's really round about here in July 2022. Now, it's quite a long article. Lots of stuff about marriage, how the marriage institution is a good thing in a sense, but as it's a feminist point of view, it's sort of like a blackmail that really it should be good for you, if you're a guy, that is. I also found this. It's Grace Med Hope Care for Everyone. As you can see, the article says, turns out it's not really good for a man to be alone. If cardiovascular disease is the #1 cause of death amongst men, and it is, probably the most underappreciated way to reduce that risk is getting married. And the second thing to kill guys off is cancer. If you're healthy and you're looking after yourself, you won't get cardiovascular disease if you'd have correct diet and exercise. But if you smoke, don't drink beer, don't do any exercise, you probably look at getting yourself into trouble, but then you have your own self to blame. Part of the reason that unmarried men are less likely to seek treatment. Married men also like to suffer from Alzheimer's disease or depression too. Not true. I'm not married and I don't have Alzheimer's, and I'm certainly not depressed. But anyway, this is just a little article. Also, against guys living on their own, I found this. Do men find it harder to live alone? This is an article from the 20th of October 2020. It's essentially from a woman's perspective. She says she highlights some examples such as how her single female neighbours relish their freedom and independence, how they love to eat at odd hours because they felt like it. The fact that most women feel safe while nesting at home and quite happy to be alone. Well, if that's the case, what about the usual whine, where have all the good men gone? And she says, whereas men are more hardwired to be on alert for potential dangers at all times. Not true. Men don't care less about the perks of being alone. Also not true. Being alone to them feels dangerous and unnatural. Not true. Have you noticed how common it seems for men to quite frankly remarry after suffering a divorce or becoming a widower? If the man comes from a toxic divorce and is a MGTOW, he's not going to remarry in any quick way because he's seen what a marriage is like and he doesn't want to go through that again. And it goes on, why do men hate to be alone? Most of the single women I know really love their lives and would struggle to give up their freedom. Well, why are there so many women complaining on TikTok about can't find a guy? Speaking as someone who cherishes my independence, I love doing whatever I want to do when I want to do it. Is that before she hits the wall or after she hits the wall? It says, but surely why men loathe remaining alone has to go deeper than the old-fashioned reliance of having a partner to do the shopping, cooking, cleaning and child rearing. Well, I can do my own shopping, I can cook, and I can also clean. So I really don't need a wife. And it goes on, then it goes a societal, whatever the word is, shift towards solo living. And it explains, in 1950, 4 million American adults lived alone. Today, the number is 31 million American adults living alone, a 28% of all households. Now, how many of these 31 million Americans are MGTOWs? Your guess is as good as mine. And it finishes off, man down to primal hardwiring, yada yada yada, fish, bicycles and water. A man needs married like a fish needs water, not so man can carry on quite happily on his own. And then it concludes, anyway, that is an article, do men find it harder to live alone? But I also found this, 7 science-backed reasons why you're better off being single. Now this could probably be aimed at women, as there's 2 women there. And it goes down giving you the reasons why it's best to be single. Gives you the space to think. People are healthier, which contradicts that bit. You're better at keeping friends. You can have time for your friends. You can also have your own space. You're better with money because you got to be careful because you're the only one getting money in. And it says, so no matter if you have children or not, being part of a couple can be associated with more spending. It could be because single people are less materialistic. Well, I'm not very materialistic. Being single can mean doing better at work. I prefer to work alone. Good God, look at that bloody outfit. Like a bloody kid. And look at that one. Oh, and that's the same, but in pink. Bloody hell. And there's the wedding dress. Good Lord above. Being alone can be less stressful. I can agree to that. I'm quite happy with peace and quiet. In fact, I like being in this flat because it's the only thing moving outside most of the time is the wind. I like the tranquility of where I live. And singles are more self-sufficient. Yes, very true. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. And learning to appreciate alone time is really important for being self-sufficient. I can agree with that. Everyone needs to be self-sufficient at some time in their life, yes. It's called being an adult. And if you've never been alone, you might have a tough time adjusting. I can attest to that. I found it a bit tough when I lost Dad, but it's been nearly 5 years now, so I'm quite used to it. And that's the end of the article. So it seems that this contradicts this article and this article, and it also contradicts to a degree this article. Now, the bit of a laugh article, I found this. As you can see, it says private sperm donor ordered to pay child support. It's just this daft bugger. He thought he was doing a good turn to a lesbian couple by donating his sperm and his DNA in order for one of them to have children. but the couple split up, and now he's got a letter from the child support agency, says he has to spend money as he's the father of the child, and he doesn't like it because the woman became pregnant twice after inseminating herself with sperm at home, giving birth to 2 children. He received a letter demanding £26 a week in child support until both children reach adulthood. I don't know if he's got access rights, probably not. I feel as I am the victim of a space-sponsored blackmail plot. No, you're not. You're the victim of your own stupidity. It was purely an act of kindness on my part, and now I am being made to pay. Well, you learn by your mistakes, don't you, buddy? Now, the child support agency spokesman told The Guardian, the law covering unlicensed sperm donation has always been very clear. Only anonymous sperm donors at licensed centres are exempt from being treated as the legal father of a child born as a result of their donation. This is not entirely correct, however, and the law on sperm donation is complex. No, it's not. I've looked it up, and that is the correct interpretation of the law. Current law in the UK states if a man donates his sperm through a licensed clinic, which after 1st of April cannot be done anonymously, then he will not be legally responsible for any children born as a result of the donation. And now this guy donated his sperm had he done for a licensed clinic, they would not be legally responsible for the children. But the daft bugger thought he was being clever, so now he's going to have to pay the price. Anyway, you can read this article, and I found this other one associated on a similar line in the United States. I don't know about US law regarding sperm donation, but as you can see, his sperm got sperm jacked by his ex-girlfriend, and he's gonna probably have to pay child support. Anyway, I think we're on the 10-minute mark now, but feminist case for marriage is they're finding out that being a strong, independent woman isn't exactly what it's cracked up to be, and they're trying to blackmail guys into being married through this. It's not good to be alone. Do men find it harder to live alone? No, we don't find it harder at all. But this shows that you can be better off if you're on your own, and the science-backed reasons why you're better off on your own. And also, don't be silly with your sperm and your DNA, otherwise you're going to have to pay the price. I think we're on the 10-minute mark now, so I think we'll leave it at that. I might carry on with this if I find some more for next week, but for now, you all know the routine. Like, dislike, comment and subscribe. It's completely up to you. So until next Monday, that's it for this one. Bye-bye.